Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? I'm currently in shambles. I just had some food, and I think it's physically attacking my system. But we just got the one pick, so we're gonna power through it. And this gives me a chance to do that chase lineup I've talked about a little bit on the other streams. Give me 1 second while I set up my little backup measure over here. Oh no! I also do have to run audio through this headphone so it doesn't double up. There we go. That should be good now. Now, pull this fucker up on my phone, just in case OBS freezes at any point. I will know. A little backup measure over here. Oh, don't need that volume on though. Alright. I'm in shambles. I'm praying this Diet Coke will bring me back to the land of the living, but yeah. I think I might be allergic to shrimp. Finding that out late in my life, following in my father's footsteps. I don't feel great right now. Feel quite poor, in fact. But we move on. After missing technically what was supposed to be the first day, I refuse to let another setback push me off my stated path of one draft a day until the season starts, which includes Saturday and Sunday. So pray for me as I fight through this battle of illness that is currently wrecking my system. Alright. Plan is Lamar Jacobs. Let me queue up. Excuse me. I'm a mess. Baltimore receivers to work through later. Quick update while we wait on the 8-hour draft I'm in. Took Mike Evans as an ADP buy. Took George Kittle. My intent is to later, I'm surprised DJ Moore fell that far, but later I'm going to be targeting Odunze and Burden, doing like a kind of later half Chicago stack to work off of Kittle. I just kind of like Kittle as a player, and even if I only get one of them, I can do a slight game stack, whether I decide draft is moving me in a different direction away from Caleb. Okay. We have our Baltimores lined up. Green Bay. Alright. So yes, the monstrous idea that brewed in my brain is to take Chase and then build a Lamar lineup off of it. So it'd be better in the sprint. I'm only ripping a puppy right now just because I feel like my brain is operating on, let's give it a max of 75%. A lot of my brain power is currently focused on the state of my stomach, which isn't great, admittedly. Just hand up. Gotta be honest about that one. Jamar, you play Arizona later in week 17. Let's just do this, even though I don't intend on taking them. Gotta be different, gotta be wild, gotta be wonky. Especially in these lower entry ones, like in a $5 puppy, this is where you should be testing out these weird ass lineups. Alright. The play is there, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to take it. And then we get to take Flowers at a semi-reach at our next pick and work through all of that jazz. And the best part about this is no one is crazy enough to do it. You have to do it at the one pick, and it requires just a fair bit amount of reaches, at least in the early rounds. Okay. Lock in. Let's see the line. Flowers is one of the next picks. I can't remember. What are we? 60? 48. Way too much of a jump. 60 is on the other end. All right. Yeah, 48. We're taking Flowers, and we're not going to reach for Connor or anything. We'll just take best player available. Let's Let's see. Who would we be looking at? I don't want this ad. Alright. 48, best player available, and then Zay Flowers, so we can stack up this Lamar stack, also playing into the Jacobs 17 matchup, and we have Chase 15. If we can net... I don't want to reach for Connor, though. But if we can net some sort of later bring back, something like Trey Benson for a one-game spike or something, we'll take that. At 48, though... I don't know. It's kind of just play it by how it lands. I mean, Waddle ain't bad, but it does... No, it doesn't. I don't know who I'm thinking of later. There's another Week 12 wide receiver, I think, that maybe plays into this. Is it... No, it's not Zona. I don't know. But this is why I, especially in the sprint, would love this lineup. Because then you're playing into Chase, Miami in 16. You have Baltimore, Cincinnati, 15. You have Baltimore, Green Bay, 17. If you can work any kind of Arizona and stuff into there, it's pretty nice as well. You get a fair amount of ceiling over the 3 weeks. Yeah, Waddle ain't bad. It's probably who we will, in fact, do. Don't think Dallas plays into this. This is an interesting one to me. Kenneth Walker being below Hubbard, that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Seattle's offense is going to move back to more of a, not run heavy, but they had a very high pass rate over expected last year. The OC that orchestrated that is no longer there. So expect Walker to get a little bit more. And maybe even though I love Hubbard, my dad actually loved him when he got drafted. I might just be a Hubbard hater at this point. I mean, do I just take DK? DK would only be if somehow like Flowers wasn't there, because then you could play into... Alright, we don't have to worry about it. Worthy's an interesting one. I'm going to take the full clock because Zowers will get auto-picked. And consider this. Yeah, no. I'm going to stick to my guns here. Yeah. Let's do it. Admittedly, though, I am drafting this team like it's a sprint team, not like it's a puppy team. But I don't think getting some form of advanced stability into this is bad. Like, Waddle's also just a player, I think. Even though he's viewed as a much more kind of PPR level guy, has a lot of spike week availability. Admittedly, though, much more in the early part of the season rather than the late part of the season, since Miami can't handle the cold. Oh, save me, Diet Coke, save me. Where am I at in this playlist? All right. Next pick should be what, 70-something? 72. This is going to be RB2 range for me. By some... No, it isn't, because I have to take the 2. Yeah, I double up on Green Bay. At least that's the thought process. Yeah. Yeah. That is what I usually do. Yeah, I do think the correct answer is probably the Green Bay wide receivers. Who does Green Bay play Week 7? Because this is again another issue where like I don't really feel like I should take Love, given how high I took Lamar. Lamar needs to be the QB1. This is often the place I put myself in. But playing the Cardinals, I mean, damn, this shit really does just fucking line up like that. It's crazy that both of those work like that. This and the Allen lineup. Because if you were to work in... I mean, you could just theoretically skip Jacobs, take Marv, or McBride. Get your Zona in early and then work into Green Bay here. Which is a line I could consider doing. And one I actually like a fair bit for some diversity in this same sort of thought process. Portfolio alignment. Also, Golden going above Jaden Reed, what are we doing? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. Yikes. Alright, I'm gonna take Jaden Reed. And then I think I'm gonna take Pacheco. No. I'm taking Jaden Reed. Give me a second to figure out the running back here. We have no Pitt to play off of that. We have no Minnesota. Does Detroit play into anything else? Not really. Judkins play into anything else? Help me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna take Judkins. Judkins provides like just the potential to be an immediate one if he takes over the backfield, and he's a fair bit talented. I've talked through like some of the reasons that I would maybe favor him or take him over other running backs in this range, but that's like the core of it, is that Judkins could just dominate the backfield week one. And volume is king. Even in an offense as potentially poor as Cleveland. And this being half PPR does alleviate some of the like, hey, Judkins doesn't get that much receiving work. All right. We are not taking Kyler. I've done Andrews before, and honestly, taking Likely usually feels a little bit better. But at 96, 97, I don't think I can do that. That being, I mean, because you line up for Likely later, right? In the 40s, yeah. So who do we like here? I feel like Bateman might have to be a take given the range that you take Lamar in, and you just have to eat the ADP squash, and then you take another whomever best available. Eight picks, we shall see. I guess taking Monty would have played into potentially taking Mason or Jones. Don't need any Mooney for this lineup. I mean, Ayuk would be just like late season shit. Houston doesn't play anything. This is where I do get stuck and end up just being like, shit, I don't fucking know. Because it all feels just like a massive reach for the players that I do think I would put next on my list. Luther Burden is at 116. I mean, Andrew did a ton of TDs in the second half last year. I think we have to take Bateman. The next question is, fuck it, give me the upside. I've drafted enough wide receivers to justify this. and that essentially rules out Hopkins. Maybe you take Wilson or Dobbs as your 7th later. Likely, I feel like maybe gets a small bump, but not over Benson. Okay, if we do want to take Love, 127, we'd have to do it the next 2 picks, which I'd be fine with. We could go Kraft Love. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. Even though I don't understand taking Tucker Kraft in this range really at all. But I mean, shit, man. I don't know. I could just avoid Kraft, take Love, but I don't have the Arizona set up for it. Straight up. So it could just be Love for some value in the 17 matchup. Don't worry too much about the ancillary shit. Yeah. I rock with that. I can't justify taking Tucker Kraft in this range. I can justify taking Mark Andrews if he falls past ADP. Najee JPP Jr. Yeah, this is all tough. Judkins would have played especially well if DK had fallen and we went Zay DK. But right now it looks like we may just get a tight end value. Which, whatever, man. Sign me up. We could use some Chicago for Ayuk, which justifies Loveland. I just don't see how Tucker Kraft doesn't have the top 5 tight end upside to me. He just doesn't. So, fuck a stack, I'm looking for a rack, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, dog? Denver does play Green Bay along the way in 15. I could justify Evan Ingram. Mainly because of the ADP. Fall. And then we'll just have to work through these running backs in a bit. Yeah, fuck it. Likely 7. Let's do it. A little bit more game stacking. Really only 1 game off of Denver. Another reason, though, to maybe have not taken Waddle, because we could have had Worthy then playing into Denver 17. So just something to think about. I'm still perfectly fine with the Waddle pick since it's playing into our number 1 overall selection during the fantasy playoffs, but that does come out to be like a sprint pick, not a puppy or more BBM tourney focused pick. So that is the only glaring flaw. Not even glaring. That's the only potential flaw I see in how this team has gone so far. And I do especially like the idea skipping Jacobs, taking Arizona, and playing into the way I said it earlier. Because then you just double up on Green Bay wide receivers, the Jaden spot. But then you will, admittedly, this pick has to be a running back. Because you will be too thin on running back otherwise. What is it? 50, 45, 44 and 45. I mean, yeah, we hope one of these two guys, I mean, in a dream world, both of them fall to us. If not, we will survive. Could do a weird Cleveland play. I don't think this is an Eckler lineup. Jaden Blue just might be the upside pick. Damn, likely's gone. Alright. That makes me happier that we took Bateman then. Just to at least get a Lamar double. But missing out on both the tight ends for this Lamar-focused lineup is tough. I personally feel like you need one of them, at least, to justify it fully. I mean, if you're going to give me Javonte or Ray Davis, that's an easy pick. Well, they're not going to give me both. We might go fucking Hollywood if Javonte gets taken. Alright. This is honestly probably the better outcome. 2 running backs. I'm going to take it. Even though Javonte doesn't really play any game stacking into this lineup, Trey Benson certainly does. Javonte is just kind of a value 3. Okay. We will look at Michael Wilson just for TD dependence, 7, wide receiver. 170, 190, and then last pick. So Wilson will be at 170, 190. I'm trying to think if Lloyd is justified in this lineup. This is going to sound a little strange, but maybe I'm more incentivized to do this because it's a puppy, just to experiment a little bit. I do think, given the ceiling this lineup plays into, Marshawn Lloyd might make sense due to the lack of cost you have to invest into him. If Jacobs were to get hurt in, honestly, any section of the playoffs or during the season, like, we have enough ceiling, assuming, like, where we drafted Lamar, if he is the QB1, having the Green Bay backup for Jacobs has a lot of value. Like, this lineup it really only survives or does anything with Lamar QB1. Jacobs is a nice addition. Like, we don't want to have to rely on Marshawn Lloyd, but it's, like, a very cost-effective safety net for the ceiling that comes with Lamar, Jamar Chase, the massive Green Bay matchup in 17. Ayuk is like playing it even further, upping that ceiling, that we might be able to justify a little bit of floor here. Maybe. Just maybe. It's interesting to see how far some of these running backs are falling. I don't want to listen to... Get me running in the 90s. After this damn fucking ad. Alright. 6 picks away. Finish this ad. Get me running in the 90s. Let's keep mulling this thing over. Miami. Don't have any Tampa Bay. We do have the Cincy matchup 16. Since we do have Cleveland, like, maybe you could take Jonnu. Roshan or Jonnu? I think you go Jonnu. He got taken anyway, so why am I even considering it? But yeah, and then we slight reach on Wilson, close out at wide receiver, get a little bit of better action into that Arizona Cincy matchup in 17. Interesting tight end room, but hopefully it'll work out. And then we are 3 picks. Yeah. It's just 2 and then 1. 2 running backs. You can kind of... I think I need 3. If I had gotten at least one of the Baltimore tight ends, I think I could further justify the 2 tight end because this lineup is so dependent on Lamar. Without it, I'm slightly more hesitant. So is there anyone specifically we'd like to get our grubby little fingers on? I mean, Otten if he falls, sure. Probably won't happen, though. Who am I missing here? I'm just running in the 90s. I mean, I already got Pitt for Judkins. Dallas plays who? Washington? That's already gone. I don't believe in Senate. I mean, yeah, we already play into the rest of the matchup, so it's really just like who's going to be in the best offense? Probably would be old-ass Darren Waller. But I do not want to draft Darren Waller. Interesting questions abound in this cranium of mine. I don't know. I could also just punt tight end. If Otten isn't there, we just punt tight end to the last pick. Who cares? It's going to be a tight end 3, and then we can decide whether the tight end 3 that we're drafting even makes sense compared to the ceiling he would potentially offer the team. But if Otten is there, he's not. Alright, so that's my plan. We go double running back here. Lloyd is a pick I wouldn't usually make having Josh Jacobs, but for the reasons I said earlier, given the ceiling represented in the rest of the team, I think it's a fine, just little insurance policy. And we can close out running back. Either take a tight end or just a super massive ceiling pick at the end. I mean, you could have taken Jalen Noel, but like I don't really think Noel plays into what this lineup wants to do. Like they play Arizona 15, but like I have 7 wide receivers. I think it's just like an unnecessary sink for something I just don't think this lineup really needs. Just double up Pitt tight ends. If he falls, fuck it. You literally... It's honestly not the worst idea. If both of them are on the field the entire time and the tight end position in general takes a lot of the receiving touchdowns in Pittsburgh, it could maybe work out. Too many ads. Too many ads, man. I don't think Iosivas provides the ceiling that I'd be looking for at this pick. If him and Freiermuth were to be there. I do need to think about... I'm really... In my mind right now, because of how shambled up I am, I'm just kind of relying on Freiermuth being there, which is not necessarily something I can bank on. So what else would we be looking at? I mean, we're just... I'm not going to take a quarterback, but if there is an upside play, I could convince myself to take a wide receiver. Which honestly could be Wicks, since I botched out. But I have no stack on either tight end. It's the same thought process that I had before, which is like, if Lamar is QB1, what would kill the advance rate? And it would probably be like just absolute. I mean, yeah, it would shape out to be a fairly decent number of points if our tight end just ate shit the entire year. Alright, well, Muth did end up making it to us. Let's run through a quick little review. Why didn't he go? Oh, it's just not registering. Reload it. Because I did get kicked off yesterday mid discussion. Puppy 2, first Puppy 2, baby. Alright, start off with the 1. Took Jamar, and I wanted to show off at least this kind of weird lineup that I have drafted before. Would love to get it in like a sprint, but I have yet to, just because the sprint is so hard to actually get a draft started up for one of these streams. The thought process, you have Chase. No one at the 2-3 turn who's taking Chase is taking Lamar. So immediately that's your kind of uniqueness factor. And they play each other 15, which is why I would prefer this in a sprint. And then you work into the Green Bay-Baltimore matchup. And Lamar, like Josh Allen, is one of the few top-end quarterbacks where you can play into their stacks later in the draft. It's very easy to get Zay Flowers at your 5-4. The big question in this lineup, if you are not a fan of Jacobs, you can easily take Harrison or McBride, and then instead of getting Jacobs, you double up on the Green Bay wide receivers right here. So like instead of taking Judkins, you would be taking Golden along with Reed. I just have a personal preference towards Reed over Golden. But if you do that, this pick especially needs to be a running back, which honestly, I mean, I'd be fine with taking like Walker there if you know that that is your plan. But it does, like, it gets a little tough. Like, your RB2 is going to be pretty decent. Like, you're going to have to stack up some of these later running backs instead, I think, of taking, like, Bateman. At least that's my initial thought process. I hope that we can get into a Chase lineup where we don't take Jacobs here and we can kind of play off of how you might have to build it differently. But interesting nonetheless. So yeah, Chase plays Baltimore in 15. They play Green Bay in 17. You get the stack on Flowers. Waddle plays Chase 16. Again, Green Bay, Baltimore. This was mainly just because I needed an RB2. You can take which one of them, to be honest. If you prefer Monty or even Pacheco. I think Pacheco is pretty fair. More fair if you had gotten... Where is he at? I don't know. I'm not going to waste my time looking for it. But if you had like played into some Denver thing, then Bateman, just to further that Lamar stack, because if you are drafting Lamar at the 2-3 turn, you need him to be QB1. Ayuk was mainly because we already had the wide receiver kind of floor with how many we had taken, and I felt comfortable with Judkins as the RB2 to justify just a super high ceiling pick, someone who I'm not going to try to guess when he plays, but when he plays in the playoffs, even if he doesn't play much in the regular season, if you advance and you get Ayuk in the playoffs, like that's the ceiling you want to hunt, especially in a $5 puppy draft. Took Evan Ingram simply because he was so far past ADP. This is an even better pick if you do take like Pacheco there instead of Judkins. I don't personally view Ingram as one of those tight ends with top 5 upside, but at the end of the day, I needed a tight end, and I think he provides a fairly decent floor week to week at your tight end position. Then I took Love, mainly because I didn't love most of the other picks on the board at this moment, and it just kind of further stacks that 17 matchup in this low entry fee kind of tourney. Javonte Williams, very surprised he fell that far to 144. Thin at running back, fine with that. Benson gets us some sort of play into that Cincy-Arizona 17 matchup, and he's also just a premium handcuff. Jonnu, another one that fell. He's going to be a TD-dependent option, but that's the best you can hope for out of these players, and gets us into Judkins versus Pitt, week 17. Wilson, again, just to play further into that Chase 17 matchup. Justice Hill, because a lot of his work is going to come likely through the passing game, and he's just kind of like a weekly, might blow up for a fair bit of points like he did week 1 last year. Marshawn Lloyd is the only one where it's more of a floor pick since I already have Jacobs. I don't recommend doing this often, but because the rest of the lineup is so built on ceiling, with Lamar needing to be essentially QB1 and needing the rest of your lineup to really perform, I was fine with it. And then Freiermuth, again, he fell, and I'm fairly confident the Steelers will be running 2 tight end sets. It basically gets us just a bet on the Steelers throwing to their tight end in any given week without having to hit on specifically one of those players. That's the team. Hope you guys enjoyed the matchup. Hope you enjoyed the draft. And until tomorrow, have a great night, draft well, and I'll be back again. Peace out. Have a good one.